Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred We Dead Laughing and I'm here with another weekly wrap up. December is just flying by, I can't believe it, but I've been really enjoying doing Vlogmas so far and I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos. But I'm not here today to talk about Vlogmas, I'm here today to talk about the books that I'm reading. And I read 4 books this week. I finished 4 books. I'm currently reading 2 others, but I had a pretty good reading week. I'm pretty happy with all the books that I read. The first book that I finished this week was a NetGalley book and it was called Split the Sun by Tessa Elwood. I read the first book in this series a couple of months ago and it was called Inherit the Stars. And this is kind of like a sequel, kind of a standalone sequel because it's based in the same world, but it follows completely different characters, and it's also taking place on kind of like a separate planet than Inherit the Stars was. I did enjoy this one. This one is about a girl called Kit whose mother has become a terrorist and she basically is going against kind of the rulers of this planet they are on, and she created an explosion that killed a lot of people, and Kit is kind of dealing with the fact that her mother has done this terrible thing, and Kit is dealing with a lot of hatred from other people because of what her mother does, even though she had nothing to do with it. I did enjoy this one. I didn't quite enjoy it as much as Inherit the Stars because Inherit the Stars I really loved. I thought Kit was a pretty great character. She was pretty strong and competent, and I really enjoyed that about her. There is a relationship in this book as well, but I wasn't as crazy about it as I was with the relationship between Asa and Eagle in Inherit the Stars, because I felt like their relationship was just really natural and genuine and strong, and they really kind of needed each other as well. Where with Kit, she's a very independent character, and I feel like she is the type of character that she doesn't really need a relationship. Like, she didn't need this guy to kind of make her feel good, because I feel like she's just not that type of girl. She's just quite independent and strong, and while it's okay to have a bit of like lovey-doveyness, I don't really mind that, but I just felt near the end where she seemed very dependent on this guy coming back to her, I felt like that wasn't needed, because I think Kit is fine without having anybody like that. She is so independent and she is very strong within herself that she didn't need that. So that wasn't really a problem. That was just kind of a personal thing for me, how I felt about Kit. But I did enjoy the book. It was a very fast read, as was Inherit the Stars. You get sucked into the world really easily, and yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is probably something I'm going to talk about at length for, because it was so interesting. This was Beloved Poison by E.S. Thomas. This one is set in the 1800s and it's about a apothecary called Jem Flockhart, and this person comes to they're kind of like working in a hospital, and he's kind of like an architect comes and they're going to try and kind of rebuild this hospital, and then they find these coffins, these 6 little coffins, Jem and Will, who's the architect, and there's kind of this mystery behind these coffins, and then people start showing up dead and it appears that they've been murdered. So it's like straight away you get into this mystery, this kind of murder mystery, and Jem is trying to solve it. But the thing is that Jem has their own secret, and the fact is that Jem isn't a man, she is a woman. But for her entire life she has pretended to be a man since she was only like 7 or 8 years old, so she can learn to be an apothecary and so she can inherit her father's apothecary business, because women wouldn't have been able to inherit or do anything like that. So her entire life she's been a man or a boy, and people think of her as Jem Flockhart, the male apothecary, and she also has a birthmark over the half of her face, over her eyes, kind of like, I think it's like a cherry wine or cherry stain birthmark, and so this kind of helps her almost hide her real identity as well, because people don't tend to look too closely at her, because they tend to focus on the birthmark and then not really kind of like what's underneath, if you know what I mean. But this was just so interesting, like not just the murder mystery, which was really great and really had me guessing, really had me intrigued, but just Jem's own personal journey with gender and with sexuality. I am using female pronouns with this because Jem does use female pronouns when she is describing herself, but I would definitely say that Jem would be queer. Like, she doesn't appear to be straight, she appears to be either bisexual or gay, so I'll just say that Jem is queer. But yeah, and you can't really say that she's transgender, because the fact that she is dressing up as a male wasn't really her idea. It was something her father forced upon her when she was younger, and she just ended up going along with it, having to go along with it, and it becoming part of herself. It became part of her identity that she was a cross-dresser, I guess. But as I said, when she looks in the mirror, she often will see a woman and not a man. But then at one point in the book, she does describe herself as a man trapped inside a woman's body. So it's a little bit mixed up like that, but I just found that really, really interesting. I found just the way Jem acted so interesting. There were genuinely a lot of moments in this where I forgot that Jem was like a woman underneath it all, because in your head Jem becomes a man. Like Jem becomes like, you know, dressed like a man, talks like a man, acts like a man. I also found it really interesting to follow the fact that Jem did have this birthmark and how she was treated as a man compared to how she would have been treated as a woman. Because as a woman with that kind of birthmark, obviously it would have been very, very hard to go out into society and maybe get a husband and, you know, that kind of thing. Where with a man, you know, he can he can wear it as a man. She can wear it with you know, she wears it as kind of a mask, and, you know, to kind of keep people away. And, you know, the way that just the character traits she has around her birthmark as well, like she tends to cover her face a lot, and you can see her doing that quite a bit in the book, and I just thought that was really, really great just to see that and just to see how all these things affected Jem. I just really enjoyed her journey. And again, the murder mystery is great. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I did not give it a full 5 stars just because there was a lot of foreshadowing and it got a little bit too much. It was 3 or 4 times there was a lot of Jem would be in a room, and then, you know, there would be the line kind of along the lines of, if only I knew then what I knew now, or if only I had looked closely at the way they looked at each other. And that just kind of annoyed me a little bit after a couple of times, because, you know, it's kind of really telling you things that you don't want to be told right that moment. But overall, I just found this was a really, really interesting book. Jem herself was just an amazing character to follow, and I think this is going to be the first book in a series, so this is definitely going to be a series that I'm going to follow along with, because Jem is just a really, really great character and I can't wait to see where she goes. The next book I read was School of Death by Christoper Marinno. This is about a girl called Susie. She is 13 and basically she ends up going into this land where they tell her that she is a death, which means she's kind of like a Grim Reaper in training, and she has to go to this school for a year to learn how to be a death. But the thing is there's never been a female death in like a million years or something, because the last female death that there was tried to do something really bad to all the other deaths, so she has to deal with a lot of kind of hatred and sexism and stuff like that in the school. And this was really interesting. I did enjoy the school. I did enjoy kind of the classes that Susie had to take, and the friendships that she formed with the other guys in her school, and I did enjoy that. It was kind of like a Harry Potter feel with, you know, there was this school and, you know, all these kind of teachers and classes and stuff like that, and then there was like a whole different sport that they were able to do with their like skites, which was like really, really crazy. I didn't really enjoy the sport that much, but I'm not sure whether it was too complicated for me or that I'm just not a sporty person. But I felt with Quidditch is so easy to understand, where this other thing that they do in this school was just, I don't know, it just seemed really complicated to me. So I didn't really enjoy it when they were talking about this sport and the matches that were taking place. It kind of lost my interest a little bit. I did think that, as I said, the school was done well. The world building was quite good. Kind of the intrigue and the plot wrapped up, like, you know, kind of it went along really, really well. And I think it wrapped up really well as well. The only thing I had a major problem with this is the hatred that Susie does receive. It's understandable that, you know, she's the first girl, all these guys are going to be scared, she's going to have a lot of hatred, you know, but I just felt the level of it was a little bit much considering she was 13 years old. She was called a lot of names, like she was called a bitch and a slut and stuff like that, and I just feel like for a 13-year-old, that was just too much, and I don't think, like, you know, I'm guessing because she is 13, this is more of a middle grade book, and I just feel like, I don't know, I just felt like it was inappropriate and I didn't like it, and it just made me feel wrong. And I feel like, you know, that hatred and fright that the other boys felt towards her could have been shown in a slightly different way than just going with these slurs that are thrown out every single day by men to women in aggressive ways. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just felt like it could have been done better. It just annoyed me and just made me feel wrong. So yeah, I didn't really like that. There is kudos to this book though, that there is periods in it. Susie does get her period, her first period at one point, and, you know, she's freaking out because she's literally in a world full of men and she's no pads or tampons or anything, and she doesn't know really what to do or who to go to. So she has to kind of deal with that with herself, and I just felt that was really interesting. However, she got it like the one day and then there was never any mention of it again, and I just would have liked a little bit more you know, a follow-up to that of how she was dealing with that kind of thing, like as the couple of months went past. I gave this like a 3 out of 5 stars because I think it was quite good, it was well written, and I think I will go on and read the second one eventually because I want to know what happens. The last book I finished was The Mothers by Brit Bennett. This is a book I've been reading on my phone for a couple of weeks. This is kind of about this girl and guy who are in a relationship, and the story starts off with them having an abortion, or the girl having an abortion, and it kind of has this thing where this abortion kind of followed them throughout their lives, and they kind of go off and do their own thing, and then there's this other girl that comes, and she kind of is connected to both of them. She's like a best friend, and then she kind of becomes a love interest to the guy, but then the first girl and guy are kind of still connected because they were like each other's first love. It kind of goes like that. It's kind of this, like, it goes through, spans a few years, and I did enjoy it. I thought the writing was quite good. There was this monologue at the start of a lot of chapters that were from the mothers, who were kind of like the older women in this community, and while I kind of understand why that was put in, I just feel like it could have been taken out. I didn't enjoy it that much. I just felt it was a little bit pointless. I don't think we really needed this thought process from these older women. I don't think it really mattered that much to the story. So I think that could have been taken out. This is also set in a predominantly black community as well in America, and all the main characters are African American, and I really enjoyed that, and I just thought it was like nice to have that in a book, obviously. And obviously Brit Bennett is African American herself, so this is Own Voices. And yes, I did really enjoy this. I didn't love it. It didn't like wow my world, but I did enjoy the story and where it went, and yeah, it was pretty good. It was good. I liked it. I don't have that many thoughts about it, to be honest. And I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars as well. So that is everything that I read this week. At the moment I am reading Roseblood by A.G. Howard, and I'm reading The Snow Child by Eowyn and Ivey, and I'm enjoying both of them very much. And yes, so I will update you guys next week about how they went and any other books I read. Please let me know what books you guys read this week, and if you've read any of the books I've read and what you think of them, and the same old thing. You know yourselves. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye.